Let's discuss the movie The Desperate Hours. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Garage Geek. This is an entry into the series 100 Movies, $100. So today we're going to be looking at the movie The Desperate Hours, starring Humphrey Bogart and Frederick March. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting about this is that since both of them are the stars, why is only Humphrey Bogart on the cover? After researching this, I found out something interesting about that, which I will mention later in the video. The Desperate Hours is a 1955 movie. It's a film noir, and it has a history. It was a novel written by Joseph Hayes in 1954, and then it was a play, also by Hayes, in 1955, and the play won the Tony Award for Best Play. The movie is a home invasion movie, and it was loosely based on real events where 5 members of the Hill family were held for 19 hours. This movie is directed by William Wyler, and of course William Wyler is all over Hollywood. He won Best Director Academy Award 3 times for Miss Miniver, The Best Years of Our Lives, and Ben-Hur. But he was nominated for this award 12 times. The role that Frederick March plays, which is the husband of the family, was for Spencer Tracy, but both Spencer Tracy and Humphrey Bogart wanted top billing in the movie, and even though they were friends, Spencer Tracy decided to back out, and so therefore Frederick March got the role. Now again, it's interesting because Humphrey Bogart does have top billing, and even though this is a DVD made years later, Frederick March isn't even on the cover. And he's equally as important as Humphrey Bogart in this movie. If you look in the scenes in the back, so they're both in the scenes depicted on the back of the box. Some interesting facts about this movie. The house for the exterior shots of this film was the house used in the final seasons of the Leave It to Beaver TV show. A 1990 remake was made by Michael Cimino with Mickey Rourke, Anthony Hopkins, and 3 or 4 other really good actors, but the movie got poor reviews. Now, this movie stars so many familiar faces. I'm going to go through the major ones. We have Humphrey Bogart, and I know I don't have much to say to add. I mean, he's so famous, right? But this is one of his later films. This film was in 1957, and 1955, and he died in 1957 of esophageal cancer. I hope I pronounced that right, esophageal, so cancer of the esophagus. Bogart plays the leader of 3 criminals who escape, and they are holding up in Frederick March's family's house. And there are 4 members of the Frederick March family. Frederick March won the Academy Award twice, for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1931 and for The Best Years of Our Lives in 1946. He's a very famous actor, and he's made so many movies. Martha Scott plays Frederick March's wife, and her face was so familiar, but I couldn't place it. And there's going to be another character in this movie that the whole time I was like, where have I seen this person? So anyways, the wife, played by Martha Scott, played Charlton Heston's mother twice, right? So she played his mother in The 10 Commandments, and she played his mother in Ben-Hur. Now, like I said, there's so many interesting actors. Like, I was looking up all of them. I'm not going to include them here, but there were a lot of the actors were from the Ohio area, and so since I'm from Ohio, I thought that was really interesting. Richard Ayer was the child actor in this movie, and he was the person in the movie that I knew I'd seen him before. I couldn't place him. It was his voice. His voice is so distinctive, and he turns out to have been the genie Barani in The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And of course, I grew up on that movie. That movie is so awesome. I do want to mention one final actor named Gig Young. So he's also a very famous actor. He's won Academy Awards, nominated for Academy Awards, but I always remember him as starring in the Twilight episode called Walking Distance, because that was filmed near a friend's home, and the gazebo used in it is still there, and I went to visit it. And the town of Binghamton, New York, is actually going to show that episode outdoors in the park where that gazebo is, and I so wish that I could go. It's coming up. It's happening, I think, sometime in this fall. My friend, he told me about it. So I'm so jealous. I would love to go to that screening. It's a great episode if you've never seen it. It's called Walking Distance, Twilight Zone. It's in the first season, I believe. Let's talk about this movie. This movie is really good. Okay, so I didn't know it was about a home invasion before I watched it. So the first scene, right, where they're showing the credits, they're playing this really, really ominous music, and they're showing a suburb, and it just is so incongruous. This was a stage play before it became a movie, and you can tell. Now, although they used many different locations in the movie, most of it happens inside of home, and the way they shot inside of the home was really well done. So they basically, I don't know if they built a home or not on a stage. I would think they did, because William Wyler would show 2 floors of the home at once with characters, all the characters in the frame. And it was really effective, right? You would see what multiple actors are doing, and then you would have actors, 2 or 3 in the screen in different places in the home, and then 1 or 2 more would walk in, and it would be really dynamic. I thought it was a really interesting way to shoot the film. Now, I've seen a bunch of Bogart movies, and I've seen a bunch of William Wyler movies, but I didn't know about this one. So, do I recommend this movie? Absolutely. I would give this movie a very high rating. Now, as I was starting to say before, it's a home invasion movie, and many home invasion movies I find very difficult to watch, especially the more modern ones. Why? Because they're just too realistic, and they start to get into rape and torture. And for me, like, when I love monster movies, and I don't mind when people are killed in monster movies. Why? Because it's fake. And I mean, it doesn't bother me that much. But when you have realistic situations where humans are just cruel to other humans, that for me is more difficult to handle. And so when I found out, as I was watching, that this was going to be a home invasion, I thought to myself, well, at least it's from the 50s, so it can't be that bad. Although there are scenes of there's violence in this movie. Right? And there is scenes where the family is roughed up and thrown around, and there's also a scene where the daughter is in danger of being violated. But because it is from the 1950s, it never gets that bad. So what I'm saying is, I highly recommend this movie. The acting in this movie is great. Every person is good. The 2 leads especially play off each other very well. Their characters are developed, and they're very fun to watch, you know, going head to head in the scenes that they're in together. I would give this movie a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. I think that this could appeal to many people. If you love film noir, then you should watch this. If you're interested in real crime, because this is based on a real story, although a lot of the details were changed, right? You would find this interesting. If you're interested in really good acting, right, you're going to see 2 powerhouse actors. One, it's one of his last movies, and you're gonna enjoy this. So thank you for watching my review of The Desperate Hours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. And go ahead and click on one of the other videos I've made in this series. Thank you for your support.